Hey, what's going on, y'all? How's everybody doing? Hey, I got a fun little story. I don't even know if it's an encouragement. I kind of want to share a little story. So it's a beautiful night out here in Nashville right now, and it's about wakeboarding, but more importantly, it's about getting to do the things you want to do in life. Yo, what's up? What are you doing, man?
When I hit like those little hot things and I went, I know it's only like a hot, but when I got like slightly airborne, like I was like, I'm doing it!
So, you know what's funny is like when I was younger, not even younger, not that long ago, like a year ago, something like that, I used to want to go I've always wanted to go wakeboarding. It's been like a dream of mine, but I've never gotten to. And the irony is I've had a lot of friends who've invited me. Like I remember when I used to be, like when I was like managing, I was like a branch manager for Wells Fargo. As far back as I used to have this job at like AT&T when I was like at the end of my teens, I think like kind of 18, 19-ish, somewhere in there. And it was a great paying job. And it's funny because like I wanted to go so bad. And I had some friends who would invite me. I've had a lot of people who would invite me. People have invited me to like kite surf, all this stuff. I've just always wanted to like ride on the water. And it never happened. And the irony was because I was too busy working so that I could afford to go wakeboarding one day, if that makes sense. You ever notice how that happens? It's funny how in life, this is for me personally, I don't know about you, but for me personally, I was working my tail off so I could go do the things I wanted to do, yet years and years after that method, it never really happened. It's funny, it's like, I mean, it's like, I had this mentality of like, if I could just make a little bit more money, or if I could just get a promotion or whatever, then suddenly I'll finally be able to do those things. And as I continue to get promoted, as I continue to make more money, as I continue to get PTO days, still these adventures never happened. I got to the point where I would kind of travel a little bit, but most of my PTO was spent on the holidays just trying to go home and see family. And then if I could squeeze like a little extended weekend, and then the irony was I was so obsessed with my branch, and the pressure for sales were like so high, and like I was super competitive. I don't mean this in an arrogant way, but I always performed well. So it was just like you can't really leave your world behind, because without you it starts to deteriorate. So it's a very, very great irony. And so then sure enough, what ends up happening is the next thing you know, it's like all of a sudden I'd leave everything. I just stopped caring about money. I got into reading the Bible. I took what it said literally, and I finally became free of putting faith into money. And all of a sudden, everything I've ever wanted to do, I'm getting to do in these crazy ways. You know, it's like, I mean, does any of this sound familiar? Okay, have you ever said that to yourself? If I just had a little bit more money, if I just had just a pinch more money, all this stuff would finally work. You know, and it's like, and most of us nowadays, it's like you're struggling to keep your head afloat, you're struggling to pay bills, you're struggling for this and that, etc. It's just continual struggle, hardly ever getting anywhere. It's like you're like, if I could just make more money, this would start to go up. But you don't really go up like this. You barely go above level. Ever since I became a missionary, if there's something that happened that was significant, the one piece of advice of how you can do everything you've ever wanted to do in life, it's you gotta just have faith in God and go where He asks you. I'm not saying it'll necessarily work, and I'm not saying to mimic your life based on mine. Because I can't guarantee that will work. And I know this is kind of a vague answer, but even it's just, all I know is that once I start following the Lord, all this stuff happens. Because like, I don't have the money now to afford anything awesome. Like I don't. But somehow, stuff just keeps working. You know, I was sitting there putting duct tape on my van, and this dude comes up and says, hey, fast forward, the next thing you know, we're at a concert together. Next thing you know, we're having fun. The next thing you know, it's like I'm invited out to go like wakeboarding. And so I went with this guy named Andrew and this guy named Jared, and just Andrew was a murderer on the water. It was insane. The stuff this guy could do, it was just epic. And he was hilarious, he's funny, he's just a cool guy.
Should I drop the camera in the water?
No, please don't do that. It was like $1,400.
So you're saying I should football toss it in the water?
watching him ride the waves, it was amazing. And then Jaron, like watching him, it's the same thing. It was incredible. This guy just defies gravity. Both of them were just killing it on the water. And it's funny because like I've never wakeboarded in my life, but I was able to stand up immediately. Yeah. And I didn't do anything flashy, but hey, Mission Mike, he rode, he wakeboarded, you know? There was, on the little wake, I kind of barely bumped over it. I probably got like 2 inches of a vertical, and it was one of the happiest days of my life. And it's funny because I was learning really quickly because I'm out there with like, you know, guys who've been doing it for their whole lives, and one of them's even a pro. That's what he does for a living. And the funny thing is, he's in the same boat I am. He just worked his tail off at wakeboarding until one day it just sustains him. And you know, I'm out here, it's like I had a list before I left of the things I wanted to do, which was like everything. It's like MMA, I always wanted to do MMA. I wanted to travel, I wanted to see the world. I wanted to like serve God somehow, and like I wanted to like get to explore places and see people. I wanted to, I had a camcorder before like YouTube even existed. Like some of my buddies, I don't know if any of them were watching this, we used to record each other, and like I'd won, I think at the end of middle school, you know, it's like, so I wanted to like film and take pictures, and it's like, you know, and I wanted to get to try crazy food, and I wanted to get to do like, you know, drink like coffee in all kinds of places. And for years I worked to be able to do it, and it just never came. And so it's like, I think that's just one of my big takeaways, y'all. You know, there's this concept in life called I call it the middleman. And essentially it's all these people who convince you that you need them for the things that you want. And I've had a ton of people be like, hey, you know what you should do to pay for your mission thing? You should be like a distributor of this, or you should try to sell this, or you should pay this one-time fee, and then you'll get a discount at all these places you go. Everyone has had a million great ideas of, if I would just turn to this thing, or this person, or this corporation, or this group, all of a sudden you'll be able to travel and go wherever you want. But I think that's the very ideology that keeps you from traveling. People convince you that you need them, and you don't. You don't need anyone for any of your things. You just need the Lord. You just need to trust. You just need to have faith. You know, and when you submit to God, it's like He takes care of His servants. So it's like, in the old life, how would I have gone wakeboarding? I would have had to find a friend. They would have had to teach me. But now it's like I'm getting taught by like a pro. My one encouragement, you guys, is don't buy into the world's way of doing things. That's what Scripture teaches, is don't become friends and allies with the world. Don't buy into worldly concepts. You don't need those. You just need the Lord. The Lord rewards His servants. You may have to work your tail off. You may have to be really uncomfortable. You may have to suffer at times. You may have to be really patient. You know, it's like, I've been on the road for over a year, and but all I can tell you is, it's like, you know, if you just use the gifts God's given you, have faith in Him, trust Him, just work your tail off, you know, and be patient, and things will manifest as a byproduct of the mission of your life, if that makes sense. So anyways, hey, I know this one's a little bit longer, but hey, I love you guys. I'm praying for you. You know, if you ever want to support into this, you can go to missionmike.com. If you don't want to, I don't take that personally either, you know, because it's funny, because God has met my needs through so many people, but at the end of the day, my faith is in no one but the Lord. But so many, I mean, all I can tell you is what Scripture promises, all of it is true, and He will provide for you one way or another, one person or another, one situation or another, one opportunity or another, but He will provide. And so, and I also recommend you try some wakeboarding, because it's absolutely insane.
Oh, that's a little.
But hey, love you guys. Talk to you soon.